here. Today I'm going to put together a restorative yoga program for you that is specifically designed to help with depression and anxiety. So the kind of yoga we'll be practicing today is called restorative yoga. Also, yin yoga falls underneath that kind of umbrella as well. The effect of yoga on depression and anxiety has been documented and studied for a very long time. In clinical studies, they've found that yoga is just as effective as antidepressants in helping with depression and anxiety. Certainly not to say that medication is not needed and should be a part of the picture, but that yoga can be a really helpful adjunct to add into a person's life to help deal with daily stress. So a couple different tools that I'll be using today: a chair, a pillow, and I also have a bolster back here, as well as some yoga blocks. And you don't need to have all these fancy yoga tools, but they do make it easier. But if you get a bunch of pillows, that'll work as well. If you have a couple of books that are a little thicker, that will work really well in place of a yoga block. You could also, if you have some small blown up balls, that'll also work. So lots of ways around it. The first pose that we're going to do is a seated pose with the chair. I'm going to sit on a pillow just to help take some pressure off of my back. And I find for most people that that's helpful to have a pillow. And then you could also add another pillow up on top. Okay, you may or may not want to do that depending on how your neck feels. So I'm going to start with the legs crossed, and I'm going to come down, stack the hands, and rest to one cheek. And if you get into that position and you feel like you want a little extra support, that's where you might put the pillow on. Okay. Initially, it takes some practice to figure out what feels the most supportive. But then once you're there, you really just want to settle in, close your eyes, and really allow your body to be supported by the chair. And as you rest here, if you feel relatively comfortable and feel like you could do a little bit more of a stretch, you could then take the legs straight under the chair and then come down again. Resting onto one cheek or resting onto your forehead. And if you're doing one cheek at a time, you probably want to switch over at some point to the other side. And what's really helpful about this pose is the little bit of a stretch and release that it gives to your back, but also to your hamstrings. And this is a lovely place to bring your focus to your breath. Deep inhale, deep exhale. It's very common for all of us to be in a relatively sympathetic nervous system state a lot of the day. And that's kind of that active, called the fight state of the nervous system. And so especially restorative yoga is meant to allow for a much deeper level of relaxation and to help shift us into that parasympathetic nervous system state, or that restful state. So you could stay here for quite a long time. Most of these poses you could hold for up to 5 minutes. And you could also, if you're finding that the flexibility is not an issue for you, You could drape yourself over a pillow. You could also cross the ankles. And again, just set a pillow up for yourself and rest your forehead there. This is where having a couple tools really does come in handy, because you could stack things up for yourself to bring it a little bit higher. You'll notice with all of these poses today that there's an emphasis on relaxing the eyes, letting the eyes close, bringing your focus inside. So then we're just going to come into a seated position and practice alternate nostril breathing. This is a form of pranayama, pranayama being the kinds of breathing exercises that are taught in meditation and in yoga that are incredibly beneficial to our nervous system, to the way that we manage stress in our day-to-day lives. Especially if you struggle with fatigue or anxiety, these can be incredibly helpful tools. So using your right hand, you're going to release your thumb, and then your ring finger and your baby finger. Okay. You're going to close off your right nostril and breathe in through your left nostril. Close off your left nostril and breathe out through your right nostril. Breathe in through your right nostril. Close your right nostril off with your thumb. Breathe out through your left nostril. Breathe in through your left nostril. Close it off with your ring finger and baby finger. Exhale out through your right nostril. Breathing in through the right. Closing off with your thumb. Breathing out through the left. Breathing in through the left. Closing off with the ring finger and the baby finger, or maybe just the ring finger. See what's comfortable. Breathe out through the right. Breathe in through the right. Close off with the thumb. Breathe out through the left. And one more time. Breathing in through the left. Closing off the left and breathing out through the right. And then releasing your hands open on your thighs. And taking a few long, deep breaths. As you breathe, taking your breath down into your low belly. That way the diaphragm can be more involved in that deep breath. And sensing as you breathe in that your breath is moving into your belly, and then slowly rising up into the top of the lungs, and feeling that your sternum and your collarbone are starting to rise up a little bit as well. And then as you exhale, feel the descent downwards of those ribs. We're going to continue to practice that concept as we go into this next posture. So this is a slight extension for the spine. And I'm placing my bolster here at the base of my pelvis and then laying back. The arms can come long by your sides. They can go out to the sides so you get more of a stretch in your chest. Letting the legs relax. And again, the goal here is to let your whole whole body relax as much as possible. Closing the eyes. You could even put an iPad over your eyes if you have one. Adjustments you could make to this posture to make it a little bit more intense is to add an inner thigh stretch to this. I would definitely recommend putting something underneath your knees to help you. You could even roll up a towel on either side to help prop you up some. And then if you wanted to make the chest stretch and the heart opening posture a little bit more intense, you could prop up your bolster or your pillow by placing something underneath there. Again, even a rolled up towel will increase the height of the bolster. So then once your arms lay out to the sides, there's a little bit more room for them to fall. One thing that I ask my students and my clients to do on a fairly regular basis is to compare and contrast. And so what I mean by that is to take yourself for a moment just mentally into a stressful situation. Okay, imagining something stressful that has happened over the course of the last week. And just noticing how the body responds to that. A lot of times the body will innately start to grip, the chest will start to close, the shoulders will slump forward, the neck will tense, the jaw will tense. And so when we're in this heart-opening posture, we're not only emphasizing that state of relaxation and breath, but we're also very consciously reversing the impacts of what stress does on our physical body. Here again, you could stay in this posture for at least 5 minutes if you wish. Again, that depends on how your low back is feeling, how your chest and neck are feeling. And then you would just gradually roll off to the side and come into a fetal position. And then help yourself back up. So a pretty short routine, but incredible benefit to you. Even if you practice these few exercises every day, and you don't have to take it from me, this has been scientifically proven over and over and over again that these exercises make a huge difference in people's stress levels. They can measure the cortisol in the body before and after, and over the course of weeks of these practices, they can measure the ability of the brain to create serotonin and see vast improvements there as well. So if you set about 15 minutes aside for yourself every day and try these, I think that they will be very helpful to you. All right, thanks for spending time with me. Have a great day.